A lot of you guys have been asking me in comment sections and over DMs why I stopped playing Grand RP, and there's a few reasons for this. The very first reason is going to be the cars. In early December, I left for vacation, everything was normal, and while I'm on my vacation, Rockstar hits every single RP server with new terms and conditions, and Grand RP had to remove all kinds of stuff, including cars. So I came back, and my entire garage was all oracles. And then a week later, some of the cars started to come back. I was like, okay, you know what? They're slowly going to remodel and retexture everything. And it is now March 1st, and there's still a bunch of cars that have not been fixed. And I've been waiting for them to be fixed because they are my favorite cars to drive around. For example, they added the whole Lamborghini collection back, except for the Lamborghini Murcielago. They didn't add the Fenir Supersport back. They haven't added the Rolls-Royce Phantom back, but they added the Dawn and the Race back. And I'm just wondering, why have they still not done this? I really feel like they're slacking off because a lot of people love cars. Everybody used to open crates to try and get the cars, but for some reason they haven't added some of the coolest and rarest cars back into the game yet, and it has been months, which really got me annoyed. But that's not even the worst part. When this all happened, they actually released some new cars into the auto shop that you could purchase, like for example, a beautiful RX-7 Velside. I purchased that thing straight away for $2 million. Of course, at the time it was an Oracle, and as of right now, months later, it is still an Oracle. And the thing is, so much money has been spent on the server. Myself alone, I've spent over $13,000 buying Grand Coins and opening up crates and getting all these sick-ass cars. And now months later, I still can't drive a bunch of those awesome cars that I technically did pay to get. And I'm sure that's still the same case for a lot of you guys out there. Like, I talked to one guy and he had a Bugatti Veyron. That was his one and only cool car that he had. Everything else was pretty garbage. And he still can't drive it because the Veyron is not in the game. I had the same car as well, and I still can't drive it either, and I spent a lot of money upgrading that thing, put cool wheels on it, and it's just sitting in my garage as an Oracle. Once again, it just sucks that we spend all this money and they're still not able to just retexture everything in 4 months, which is crazy. Speaking of things that haven't been retextured, let's talk about clothes once again. Loaded in December, my entire outfit was gone except for my Tron pieces because those are actually from GTA 5. My Calvin Klein pants returned months later, and they were called Alvin Line pants now. They still look okay, but, you know, I guess it is what it is. And then there's other stuff that's still not back. Like, for example, Yeezys. I still can't wear those. It shows nothing on my feet. I can't wear the Yeezy slippers from the Battle Pass a while back. I can't wear my Luminous Vans. And there's probably a bunch of other stuff I have in my closet that I still can't wear because they haven't retextured it, and it literally is nothing when you're in the server. Once again, super annoying. People spend tons of money on that stuff, and there's still things in the auction that are getting released that you can't even wear. So people are spending millions of dollars buying pieces of clothing that you haven't been able to wear for months on end, and we really don't know when all this stuff is going to come back. One of the biggest reasons I left the server, though, is because it's not an RP server anymore. It's just a game. Because when I first joined, it was RP, and I used to stay up for about 12 hours every day playing Grand RP. I didn't want to do anything else except play the game, and that's when it was in its prime. Every day, it was awesome. My friends and I had an absolute blast. And I'm sure some of you watching this video played back when I first joined the server, a long time ago before crates were even introduced. Back then, it was Savage Lottery tickets. And nobody really cared about them. Yeah, you can get cool cars and stuff like that, but that wasn't the whole point of the server. Then a year later, it's all about crates. Crates is the only thing that everybody wanted. They wanted to win the cool cars from the crates, and at that point, they didn't add any cars to the actual auto shop for a very long time, and then they finally did, and it was a $15 million car that was absolutely garbage. It went from being an RP server to a game that people treated like GTA Online. It just stopped being RP all of a sudden, and it really sucked. That's why I switched over to a different server where the RP is proper, and it's actually fun, and there's so much other stuff you could do, and I just have a great experience in Carnival RP. Every single person I've talked to in that server absolutely loves it. And most of them did come from Grand RP as well. And I would highly recommend checking it out if you really want to get back into RP. And I'm not sure if I mentioned this or not, but shit just also got way too expensive. For example, all the cars they released were like $20 or $30 million state value cars, and they really never did anything about people trying to rob cars because they always abused bugs and shit, like I said, not really RP. But then if you wanted to pay for the insurance on one of your cars that has a $30 million state value, Well, guess what? You gotta dish out 3 million bucks. And if there's no SAHP officers on duty there, you have to dish out another 5%. So then you have to pay $4.5 million for your car so it doesn't get stolen, which really sucks. Plus, lots of other things in the server just started spiking in terms of pricing. I don't know if I said this before as well. Adidas pants were like 3 mil back in the day, and then they went up to like $50 million. And then businesses, people want to make money. They started off being like $1 million, selling for 10 million, and now they're selling for almost $1 billion for something like car sharing. Everything just started going downhill with Grand RP. New players would come in, they'd be like, oh yeah, it's cool, but how am I going to get a business? The cheapest business that makes you no money will still end up selling for like $30 million, which doesn't make any sense, because if the business doesn't make money, then what's the point of it? Don't forget about housing and apartments. Back in the day, it used to be relatively cheap. Then it just skyrocketed in price. I remember one of my old family houses I sold to some guy for like 15 million bucks. And now that house probably goes for like 50 million. Then I bought a different house for like $40 million a while ago. That house probably goes for over 180 million now. It's crazy. Nobody's going to be able to afford that unless you have a business that is going to make you a ton of money. The thing is, every business is taken, and half the businesses you might be able to afford after a year of grinding don't even make you any money. They just use them for family points and things like that. Another thing I noticed as I'm making this video, which makes things even worse, is a lot of the modifications I put on cars, specifically wheels, have just disappeared from them. And the cars aren't cheap. Like the wheels on my Bolide cost me a ton of money, and now they're back to stock wheels. And same with a couple other cars. Like, what the hell is happening in this server? But yeah, those are the reasons why I stopped playing on Grand RP. It's just not what it used to be anymore, and I feel like the developers are kind of slacking off. All of the issues that are still happening in Grand RP could have been fixed within a month if they really wanted to fix that stuff, but they haven't. And there's still other things, like the Battle Pass, for example, was released, and nobody could buy it because you couldn't get Grand Coins until like 2 months later, and even then, it's still extremely hard to get Grand Coins. Things are just not what they used to be, and honestly, there's a lot of other RP servers out there that are a lot more fun. And I'm just saying, 5M hasn't really been hit by Rockstar's terms yet, so they still have all the real cars and real clothes and things like that, which is why I like playing on 5M servers opposed to Rage MP servers at the current moment. Anyways, let me know what you guys think of this down below in the comments section. If any of you stopped playing Grand RP as much, or considering stopping, and if you are, I'd highly recommend checking out Carnival RP, because honestly, the RP in that server is prime. Thank you guys so much for watching, and with that said, I will catch you guys in the next one.